Hello, Art34. Okay, so here's your quick demonstration on filling out graphic organizers. So you want to start with your I am writing or your I am statements. You probably want to list like 10 to 15. Then I would start picking out, if you're having trouble coming up with 5 memories or events, I would start picking out things like I am busy, and I remember the first time having the experience of being really busy and having responsibility was in high school. So that might trigger a memory for me to then have a memory of high school. If I'm stressed, maybe there was one particular time that I was stressed. Anyway, so you can grab memories out of things that make you who you are. So finish your I am statements. Then for each one of the organizers in the center, you're going to write what the memory or event was. It does not have to go in chronological order, meaning it does not have to go in order of your life. All right, so I'm going to do 1, but you're going to do all 5. So this would be 1 memory and event. The next page will be another. Then you have a 3rd, a 4th, and on the back is the 5th. These are due on Monday. We're going to use them to sketch from. Remember, I'm not going to read them unless you need help sketching. So I'm going to do my first memory that I ever recall, and that's of my grandma and eating grapefruit in her little dining room in a farm in Nebraska, which I didn't know her very well, and I had really never been to that farm. So what's related to that memory or event, so something that happened before or after, another one is they had hardwood floors in this old farmhouse. So I might write like walking on wood floors. So I felt like they kind of bounced a little bit. I thought it was cool. Like we didn't have that here in Phoenix. Another memory would be like one of the few photographs that I have of her and I is sitting on the stairs. Oh. Taking a photograph. Okay. So those are related. Then my memory is that my grandma was pouring sugar. Like I had a grapefruit and she was pouring sugar on it. And my mom's like, she doesn't need all that sugar. And she was like, oh, you hush. Like she's my granddaughter. And I was the only grandchild at the time. And she's like, I'm going to give her as much sugar as I want. And I remember thinking in my head, like, wow, she just shushed my mom and she's going to give me sugar. So how did I feel? I was happy. Expressive line. I'm thinking I would probably use like flowy line or flowing line to represent like the sugar kind of like sprinkling down. Symbolic color. I'm going to go with pink. So that would symbolize the grapefruit to me. When I think of my grandma, she like wore a lot of pink. But also like pink is kind of new and like childhood like. How old was I? I was 2.5, maybe close to 3. A shape that I could use to tell the story. I'm gonna go like a circle or triangle. So a circle for the grapefruit or a triangle for the little slices, because I remember just looking at the grapefruit, watching all the sugar, and her talking to my mom. A color I could use to represent that could be like a reddish orange or an orange pink color that could represent like the peel of the grapefruit itself, but also like being kind of young, and pink kind of reminds me of being young. All right, so what do I remember as far as the atmosphere goes? Like how was the actual environment? Was it windy? Was it snowy? Was it cold? Was it rainy? Was it hot? Like for some of you might get a little deeper and say like, oh, the atmosphere in that situation was overwhelming to me. I felt like I couldn't breathe, etc. So for me, it was sunny, and I remember light kind of streaming in the window. A texture, do the granules of sugar. So little like sandy kind of texture is what that would remind me of. A value, I'm gonna go light in value because it's a happy memory. but also because the light streaming in the window and I was young. So what was the effect of the event or memory? It is one of two memories I have of my grandmother. I feel like she died less than a year later, when my brother was like really little. And so hopefully it's a lasting memory. And it's my very first memory that I can recall. What kind of space? So I'm going to say like depth or distance to make it look like, okay, the sugar's starting here and it's coming down, and I want some layering, like I'll probably include like some sketching about like a shape to represent my mom and a shape to represent my grandma. So I'm going to create some overlap to create depth or distance. The best principle of design for this particular memory, the thing that stands out the most is the movement of the sugar, like the flowiness of the sugar pouring onto the actual grapefruit. So that is how you're going to fill it out. It doesn't have to be super deep if you don't want it to, but of course it can. So related events is like before, after. If you think of like an actual texture that was there, or if you can think of a texture that could represent that emotion or that feeling in some way, you can do that one. Symbolic color would be like one color you would use to symbolize that event in your head, and a representative color could be colors that were actually there. A shape would be maybe shapes that you could see and break down when you abstract it in your head, or it could be that there are actual shapes that are there. Like let's say I'm talking like my memory is having like tons of work and tons of homework in high school. Maybe I'd use rectangles to represent paper, to represent homework, etc. Okay, so you're going to fill out 5 of these for each memory and event. Remember, I'm not rating them unless you want help sketching. And then these are due Monday, and I'm going to show you how to pull off of these and start sketching for your Lifeline. All right, good luck. Have fun. I'll see you on Monday.